There it is. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Pack-A-Day Happy Hour. It feels really good to be doing a Pack-A-Day Happy Hour. It's been a hot second since we've done one. Thank you so much for being here. We're going summer shandy today, so free advertising for Line and Kugels. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves on this Friday. Hope you have a drink of your own if you want. Otherwise, if not, maybe a Mountain Dew, maybe an orange Mountain Dew, which was the training camp drink of choice today. Either way, I hope this Friday finds you well. There's been a little bit more Jordan Love smoke today coming out of the interwebs and there's just passers of secrets and things like that. Nothing definitive, nothing that's done as of yet, but just a few more whispers. Like I said, a little bit more smoke. We'll see. I already recorded tomorrow's episode, so I guarantee you it's probably going to get done now. I've got an event later tonight that I'll be going to, so I'll be out of commission to record anything, at least if I drink the way that I expect to. But no, I'm in all seriousness, hopefully, obviously the deal gets done. And it'd be great if you'd be out there tomorrow for pads, for padded practice. That's clearly the number one thing right now on everyone's mind on the agenda for the Packers. It's great that they're out there practicing. Defenses looked phenomenal, but with no Jordan Love, it's tough to gauge the defense, tough to gauge anything on offense. And it's just kind of like I said with Perry yesterday, there's this little cloud that's kind of hanging above everything. And we're all excited. It's practice, it's training camp. Hope springs eternal this time of year, but you want Jordan out there. And as soon as that gets done, you just got to feel like the rest of training camp really kind of takes off from there and should hit an entirely different level. You guys know the drill. We will get to super chats first. Any super chats go to the top of the list. I will try to get to as many member questions as I possibly can. And we'll try to get to everyone's questions as soon as I possibly, or as many as I possibly can, I should say. So we'll start with some member chats here. Kevin says, happy Friday, Andy. Who's being cross-trained at center right now other than Elton? You have to remember, Zach Tom is not practicing in team right now, and he would probably be somebody that would get some of those cross-train snaps at center, but with him not doing teamwork, and we found out today from Matt that he's not likely to do teamwork until at least after family night, so we've got a while to go there. Right now, it's basically been Elton Jenkins. So Josh Myers obviously still been sort of center one. Elton Jenkins has been then getting the next snaps as with the starters as a center, as a cross-train center. We've had Jacob Monk at center. Lacita Smith has played at center with those two, both with the twos, not with the ones. And then in OTAs and minicamp, we also saw Sean Ryan take a couple snaps there as well, not in training camp though. So Elton Jenkins, the primary one that's cross-training right now, but Jacob Monk, Lacita Smith, obviously Josh Myers, and all have gotten time there in camp, and Sean Ryan did get some time there in OTAs and minicamps as well. All right, Jordan Taylor, with Kenny getting done and J Love imminent, who's next in line to get paid? And you can't say, let's see how the season plays out. Well, let's see how the preseason plays out. I'm just kidding. TJ Slayton is probably the player from an unrestricted free agency standpoint that would be the next guy that you would kind of keep an eye on. I don't really expect anything to get done anytime in the near future. Not even necessarily in season. They probably kind of wait to see how that plays out a little bit. And I think for TJ Slayton and him and his agency, they probably want to see how this season plays out too. And if TJ can go out and earn himself a big contract. So I don't think that anything's imminent there, but that would probably be the one that they kind of look at next. And then once they get into next offseason, maybe look at some of the contracts that be coming up after that. Two of the other roster decisions that they'll have to make next offseason will be the fifth-year options for both Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. So that will definitely be something that they have to decide upon this offseason as well. All right, let's see. What sub-coach has impressed you this year so far? I'm assuming you mean like positional coaches, I'm guessing. I have to bring this one up. I have to look up his name, actually, because he has been unbelievable. Let's see if we can find this here. I found the coaching staff. There it is. It's the assistant defensive line coach. They got him from, it's Vince Ogabasi, I believe is what it is. The assistant defensive line coach. That dude has brought so much freaking energy every single day. He is sprinting around, running around. Anytime his defensive linemen do anything good, he runs in the middle of the play. Like, he is going to get run over in one of these practices. And I don't think he cares. And it might do more damage to the person who tries to run him over, to be honest. He's a big dude. He is full of energy. He is a joy to watch just out there, but he has brought it every single day. And I think, like, honestly, the way that this defense is playing with so much intensity and energy right now, I have to give a lot of credit to these coaches who are bringing that. And he is one of them, Ogabasi. And then, you certainly get it from Campanelli as well. It is a defensive coaching staff that is going to bring the energy up, and the defensive players have responded to that in a significant way. It's fun to watch this defense. It is brutal to watch this offense right now. Sans Jordan Love. It is awesome to watch this defense right now. And I talked about a play in the episode that I just recorded. I didn't do it on the quick hits one, but I'll kind of walk through it a little bit here. There's a play today in red zone where it's a elongated play action. So Clifford's going play action. I think it was like a stretch play to the left. He's going run left, and he holds it for a while and then comes back the other way. And he wants to obviously throw over the top to his right side, but they're really selling that play action. And the beautiful thing, and if you've heard me talk about that, it feels like there's 13 or 14 defenders out there all at the same time. Here's exactly what I'm talking about. On the run, like had it been a run play, so on the play action itself, right? The defense has to defend that as a run in case they hand the ball off. So the defense is all over the run play. They set the edge. If they actually handed that ball off, defense is all over it. So then they give the elongated play action fake. He boots around, and what's waiting for him? Kingsley and Igbare. So they had both of those things covered. And Igbare would have probably had him dead to rights, and it probably would have been an easy sack. But they let him go. They let the play go. So Clifford continues to roll out, looks downfield, throws it. Xavier McKinney jumps it, picks it off, takes it to the house the other way. This is red zone for the offense. So you're talking about a defense that had the run play covered, had the bootleg covered, and had great coverage downfield, and then did something with it. And actually, again, probably would have had a sack within Igbare. If he didn't get the sack, McKinney picks it off, takes it to the house the other way. You talk about a defense last year that we would have probably taken the majority of the time, just them stopping the run or stopping the quarterback or stopping the pass. On this particular play, the defense had all three covered. That's what's been so impressive to me so far, is like they haven't shown a weakness. They've been all over the run. They've been all over the screens. They've been all over the misdirection, and they've been getting upfield consistently. As early, no pads. Again, I'll say it a billion more times. We're not crowning anyone here. Not telling you they're going to be a top 5 defense, but all the things that you would look for, all the measurables, all the intangibles, all the, key indicators of defensive success, we are seeing it so far at practice. And you would think that there's a good chance that some of that stuff carries over, but a long way to go. Job not done, but exciting defense so far. But Ogabasi is my answer for that one. All right, Andy, you said you were hoping the screen game would improve. What do you think is the weakness of it working? We've heard the wide receivers are great blockers. Yeah, it just feels like the tempo, the pacing, and the rhythm of it are just off. It feels like every time they set it up, you can kind of see it coming. The beauty of the screen game has to be the deception. Like, you have to sell it as if it is going to be a true pass play. And you get those defenders rushing upfield, and you really have to trick them there. You can't have any tells from the quarterback. You can't have any tells from the running back, and you cannot have any tells from the offensive line. If you get tells there, they're going to sniff it out, and they're going to have somebody that's all over that running back. And the problem with screenplays, right? And Green Bay's actually done a good job of this, of actually having 2 plays baked into their screenplay. So like, you'll see sometimes a screenplay set up, but Jordan or Aaron before him will get the ball off to like a crosser or another play because they actually have multiple plays baked in. But so many times on a screenplay, if the screen gets blown up, the play's just dead. You've wasted a play. It's over. You can't do anything about it. And like I said, Green Bay's actually done a decent job of baking in a couple different plays there. But if you sell it wrong, if the team senses that it's coming, if you're not in rhythm, whatever it might be, it's just dead. It's just dead. And that's what we've seen too much from this Packers screen game. So I think it's more the rhythm, the timing, and then making sure that, again, you're not getting out there early before the defenders upfield, because they sense that stuff. These guys get drilled on this every single day of how not to get faked on screenplays. So you really have to do a sell job to get defenders coming upfield. So then that they have that like, oh crap moment, and realize, I screwed up. I'm way too far upfield. And now the running back just has a huge alleyway. But the screen game has definitely been a struggle in camp so far as well. Let's see. All right. We've got our members chats covered. So let's get to some other ones. So Omer, Ken Ingles, the Packers cap guy, just posted 4 years, 220. I did hear that number as well outside of Ken Ingles. I heard that length and that number. Nothing that I can confirm, not a source that I can outright 100% trust. But I did hear the whispers of a 4-year 220 before actually he posted that as well. So my guess is he probably got it from the same person since it's the same number. Don't know that for sure, but I have heard that as well. So again, nothing I'm confirming, nothing I'm reporting, just, nothing more than internet whispers and rumor at this point. But there is, like I said, there's been more buzz and whispers of it than I've heard at any point so far this offseason. I think, we went over that one. All right, what do we got here? Mr. Packer into house. Good day, Andy. Good to see you, Omer. Nice hat at practice, Andy. Great seeing you making the daily appearance. Yep, of course. Love being out at practice. If you see me, definitely feel free to say hi. I'm always happy to, chat it up with any Packer fans. If you missed it today over on Twitter, I put it in the YouTube member or the YouTube community post as well. I am going to be doing a live meet and greet at the distillery in Green Bay. I'm just going to show up there, get some Wisconsin old fashions, drink, talk some Packers. So if anyone wants to come and talk Packers, that is going to be on, it's a pinned tweet of mine as well. If you want to go check it out on Twitter, if you've, don't want to write it down now, 6 p.m. on August 22nd over at the Green Bay distillery. I think that might be the last day of open practice. That might be the joint practice. So that should be a fun day, but that is my goal, 6 p.m. Over at distillery. So hopefully can see some of you guys there. Donovan Jennings, yes, he was back today. The hope is that Tua's contract being done now, again, leads to Jordan's getting done. Eden, my guess is that the reason it's taking so long is that they're trying to do an 8-year deal. I haven't heard anything of length on it other than, again, the whispers of a 4-year deal. I still think it's more likely it's shorter than longer. I've talked about this quite a bit, so I won't go into too much of it right now. But as I say all the time, GMs love to give themselves outs, especially when, yes, I think everyone is convinced and confident and positive that Jordan's the guy. But just in case you've seen, one season, we'll just say one season. We won't even say a half season. We'll say one season. We've seen one season of really good play out of Jordan. And the last thing you want to do is attach yourself to an elongated deal that basically boxes you into a corner with just one person. That's usually bad business by a quarterback. Now, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you're just going to tether yourself to that. And it was obviously known at that point. By the way, for those of you who are unaware, because I was sort of unaware of this as well, you have an idea of what Patrick Mahomes' stats were in his very first year as a starter? His very first full year as a starter. Do you remember what his stats were his very first full year as a starter? This is real. I did like a quadruple take, by the way. He had 383 completions on 580 attempts, 66% completion percentage, 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in his first year as a starter, as a 23-year-old in 2018. That is insane. Like we've all known Mahomes is ridiculous. Like nobody, I'm not breaking any news here, but I didn't realize it was that insane that fast. So yes, if you get that guy, you will tether yourself to whatever deal he wants because he's your guy. And if something happens to him, you're probably just screwed anyway. But when you've seen 1 year out of Jordan, as good as it was, you kind of want to give yourself those outs in that situation. And I think it'll become more of like a 4-year deal, maybe 5. And I would be a little bit more surprised. And for Jordan and his agent side too, they want it shorter so they can get another big payday. And the truth of the matter is, it's probably going to be a 4 or 5 year deal. That's really like a 3-year deal anyway. And then you're going to restructure the thing and extend and do everything anyway. So whether it's 4 or 20 or anything in between, it's probably really a 3, maybe a 4-year deal in actuality. And then you start getting into extensions and doing a new deal at that point anyway, assuming that he continues on the trajectory that he is on. Yes, Omer, pads tomorrow. All right, let's see. Bruce, in a 4-3 defense, there are 3 linebackers who are starting and specifically at middle linebacker. So this has been an interesting one and one of the just more noteworthy starting groups so far. In base, with their 3 linebackers, it has been Quay Walker as the Mike, as the inside linebacker. Not super surprising. The 2 off-ball or the 2 outside linebackers have been Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson. And that is a super interesting one. We have not seen really Edgerrin Cooper much there, and we have not seen Tyron Hopper there with the base defense. It is Quay, it is McDuffie, and it is Eric Wilson. So a very interesting trio of linebackers there. And then in nickel, it is mostly Quay, or it is Quay all the time. And then it is McDuffie primarily lately as the starting nickel, with Edgerrin Cooper getting some snaps there as well. So interesting, though, those rookie linebackers still seem to have some work to do to crack that starting lineup. Hopefully not crap the starting lineup. Who do I think the most impactful rookie will be? Well, I'm holding off to see, when Marshawn Lloyd comes back, although he's clearly not probably going to be, the dominant running back. Everyone's clearly hoping that that's going to be Josh Jacobs. And then, so it's going to be tough to be him, but he was phenomenal in OTAs and minicamp. So I want to see a little bit more of him. I still think Edgerrin Cooper can get his name in that conversation, but I'm going to go whoever wins that starting safety spot between Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, although today it was Anthony Johnson Jr. in that spot. But right now, and I was talking to Paul Brettel today, I think it might be Evan Williams. And it is so early. Like we don't need to make any crazy predictions here, but like I've been really impressed with Evan Williams so far. A couple interceptions all over the field, doing everything they ask him to, communicating everything. It's been an impressive start for Evan Williams. And I think if he does earn that starting spot, he could make a legitimate impact right away. But again, he's got to compete with Anthony Johnson Jr. and Javon Bullard for that spot. But I think overall, like Jordan Morgan could start at right guard. I think Edgerrin Cooper is going to play at linebacker, whether it's in some specific packages or whether he ends up being, the guy in nickel next to Quay. They're going to find ways to get him on the field. I think Marshawn Lloyd will definitely find ways on the field. I definitely think either Bullard or Williams will start, and I think the other will find packages that they get on the field in as well. So I do think that this still has the ability to be a potential rookie class that has a pretty big impact from day one. Andy loved the videos and have been watching for a while. No one I have seen has the commitment to give people information, and I'm fortunate to be a Packer fan. One question: why can't J Love sign it? These are complicated issues. I've seen people want to blame Jordan. I've seen people want to blame the Packers. If this were easy, it would just be done. And it's not. These are very complex negotiations. And as I've said a million times, there's not precedence for this. Like Green Bay is the only team that puts himself in this scenario where you sit a guy for 3 years, take over for a legend, does awesome in the year, and then you have to pay him right away. And we saw it with Aaron, but Aaron, the contract structure back then was totally different than it is now. So there's not a ton of precedence for this that they can go off of. They can say, and his agent can say, that he should get paid more than Tua, that he should get paid more than Trevor Lawrence. And you can certainly understand those arguments, but there's a lot of push and pull that's going to go between both sides. And it takes that compromise and that just right mentality to figure out exactly where that sweet spot is. And they'll get there. They really will. I still expect it sooner than later, but these are very, very complex negotiations. Could Jordan sign it? Sure. But could the Packers sign it? What Jordan's agent wants? Sure. It goes both ways. Like I said, if it were easy, it would be done by now. It's not easy. Will Donovan Jennings make the team? Claude, I want to see him in team drills first. I want to see him in preseason. He just got back today in individual drills only. He'll have a chance, right? Like this offensive line's not looked great so far. There's not many people he's got to beat. Caleb Jones just got back today. Tenuta's not had a great start to camp. Dillard's not had a great start to camp. Kadeem Telford had a really tough day today. Jacob Monk has a ways to go. Travis Glover has a ways to go. Like this off Royce Newman, we know what that is. Offensive line's not been good. So, if he can get in there and show he's capable, he's got every right to go and make that team as a potential backup guard. Yep, we talked about that. I wonder what would happen if the offense still sucked when Love comes back. I don't see that happening in any way, but I do think this offensive line needs to play a lot better. I was talking to Spofford today on the sideline, and it's just like the offensive line is just getting their ass kicked. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback if that happens. If Rashawn Gary just wins in a millisecond, like good luck whoever is out there. And it's just exacerbating the issue because with Jordan Love out, you need Clifford and Pratt to have a little bit more time. They just have none of it right now. So good luck to those guys where the offensive line's not protecting it all and they're still trying to figure out exactly what they need to do to be successful. It's a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what it's been. But Love will be fine. I have no concerns about that. This offense will pick up. Defense is always ahead of offense at this time. And then offense starts again to a little bit more rhythm. Pads come on and the offensive line starts protecting better. These are natural. And then, eventually you'll get Zach Tom back. The offensive line will look better just because he's back. He's their best offensive lineman. So yeah, it'll be fine. I have no concerns, but I do have concerns about the depth of the offensive line, which I have talked about all off season, and everyone's wanted to ignore me. And to be fair, I'm not saying I'm right yet. We have a long way to go, and maybe the depth is there, and maybe a lot of guys step up through the course of this offseason. But the one thing I was worried about all offseason has been the biggest issue so far, and that has been the offensive line. No Mountain Dew right now, Nate. I did drink orange Mountain Dew at practice today. Got the summer shandy going right now. Cheers. Cheesehead says hi. Hello, Cheesehead. Hope you're doing well. Buck, what do we got here? Hey, Andy, who is currently your favorite player on the Packers except Jordan Love? Love me some Dontavian Wicks. Love me some Bo Melton. Those are definitely two of my favorites. Like I said, it's early, but I really love the way Marshawn Lloyd and Evan Williams have looked so far, but I wouldn't go as far to say like they're in my favorites right now. Really like the way Carrington Valentine plays. Yeah, he'd be in that conversation. I'll go Dontavian Wicks, though. I love watching him play. Why not bring Bach back for relatively cheap if he wants back? One, I guarantee he would love to play, but not for cheap. I'm sure he's going to wait probably for training camp to get over. And as he gets healthier and healthier until a team gets desperate for a starting left tackle and is willing to give him a significant contract, and then he will go to that team. I think probably the Bach Green Bay thing probably just needs to go its separate ways. And also, Rasheed Walker is probably your starting left tackle right now. Now, if Rasheed Walker were to get hurt or they were to have a slew of injuries, do you have that conversation? Absolutely. But right now it's premature. And I don't see that happening. Let me just put it that way. And I don't think he has any interest in a small deal. I think it would be something that's going to take at least some significant, or not significant, but some like guaranteed money and a decent sized contract. Green Bay probably doesn't have any interest in that right now. And here's the other thing. If you're going to give him any guarantee, if you're going to give him any money, he could play for one game again and then be done for the year. And now you just wasted that on nothing. And now you took away snaps from Rasheed Walker and Jordan Morgan and some of the other young offensive linemen. So that's why, and I don't foresee that happening unless all of a sudden they have a slew of injuries along the offensive line where they're desperate and need to do something. I think that's the only way something like that would come to fruition. Pads on tomorrow. Let's see if the O-line steps up. I agree. How many reporters are allowed into the field for practice? So, whoever is credentialed is allowed on. I don't know how many people that they ultimately credential, but when you look at the sidelines, the majority of the sidelines is fans and people who have gotten sideline access from a variety of different things. When you're there on a day that's closed to the public and closed to the fans on the sidelines, like, I don't know, I want to say like there's maybe like 30 media members there, and it's a huge sideline. So like you have plenty of room. It's dispersed, it's spread out. But it's not a ton. Like the amount of people in the media room, again, is probably 25, 30 people. Maybe a few more show up to the actual practice itself. But I have to say it's like under 50 for sure, under 40 maybe. But it's not a ton. And certainly in the scheme of things, it certainly doesn't affect anything. But if you're looking at the sideline and seeing a crap ton of people over there, it's actually more fans and people who have got sideline passes than actual media themselves. Does the Kenny Clark extension have any effect on TJ Slayton getting a new contract? Yeah, yes, in some extent. I think the Slayton situation will resolve of its own volition and it not really be affected by Kenny. But with Kenny being back, like how GMs usually look at things is they sort of have kind of a budget of like what they want to spend on certain positions. And if they spend so much here, it means they have to maybe spend less here and those sort of things. So when you start looking at the individual defensive tackle room, you go into next year and you've got Kenny already, you've got Wyatt, you've got Wooden, you've got Brooks, and you've got four guys that you probably feel pretty comfortable with already. And you probably look at it and say, like, we don't need to give another big contract out to somebody like a TJ Slayton. If he wants to come back or we could get him at a good deal, we'll take it. But I think that situation sort of, again, plays out itself. But, if Kenny's not there, that absolutely changes the calculus for what you want to do with TJ Slayton and gives you probably more of an impetus to try to get that deal done. So it definitely affects it. I don't think it's the be all end all, meaning I think they let whatever, if TJ plays well and they can come to a great agreement with TJ, they'll just do that regardless of Kenny being signed or not. But I definitely think it changes the calculus to some extent and could affect those contract negotiations. No, I don't see 10 years, 55 or 550 million. Still no Jordan Love news, huh? Somebody's got to be on Jordan Love watch. So here's what happens. If there's a Jordan Love contract, somebody needs to super chat it so it goes right to the top so I see it right away. So that's your job. I'm trying to kind of keep an eye on it too, just in case. How many celebration beers when Jordan Love signs? However many I need. I guess 10 would be appropriate, right? 10 for Jordan Love, but we'll see. All the beers. What's up, y'all? Just a Packer fan down in Arkansas. Welcome to the chat. Heartbroken Hog. All right, we got a super chat that came in. First of all, Adam, thank you for becoming a new member. Chris, thank you for becoming a new member. If you guys haven't checked out Pack a Day podcast memberships yet, if you are enjoying this, members get an extra Q&A every single week of the year. So even when we're not doing happy hours, even when we're not doing Pack a Day lives, members get a Q&A every single week. It is really fun. It's usually, like I said, a little bit smaller, but we've got almost 400 members now. So we definitely still have a really good group that shows up, asks some awesome questions. It's a really fun community. We have a good time. So definitely check out those Pack a Day podcast memberships. You're also going to be getting some additional content from Ross Uglum. If things go according to plan, you're going to be getting some additional content from Aaron Nagler and I this upcoming season for members only. So there's definitely going to be some worthwhile stuff coming out. So check out those memberships. And Chris and Adam, appreciate you both. John, thanks for all you do here, Andy. Great content for my favorite team. John, appreciate you a ton. That is super kind of you, and always appreciate that and love doing it, clearly and obviously. And hopefully you guys see that come through in the passion that I have for it as well. All right. We were at beers, I think, if I remember correctly. All right. Thoughts on Clifford and Pratt thus far? It's been tough. And part of that, again, is the rough play of the offensive line. Two quarterbacks that need a little bit more time probably in the pocket to really let things develop. And that's just not been something that's been afforded to them so far. Haven't seen Pratt quite as much. He's been down with the twos a lot of the time. You try to maybe see both sides, but it's really tough. So usually you focus on what's going on with the ones. When he has been out there in plays that you could see, it's been, I wouldn't say bad, but nothing noteworthy. His offense just hasn't got anything going. Like if there's like a 10-yard completion, it's kind of like a big deal right now. Like there's no plays down the field. There's no touchdowns. It's been rough for the offense. And Clifford has thrown a lot of interceptions and a lot of interceptable balls. Probably, like, if you're looking at it from like a statistic basis, and if you were like grading it out, has probably been the worst player for Green Bay. Probably him and Dillard are, Clifford and Dillard are probably the two worst so far that we've seen in camp. That's, again, I don't want to make an indictment of Sean Clifford because of that, because there's a lot that's going on around him. He's being put in a position that is a little bit tough with Jordan being out, but as a backup quarterback, that's sort of your job, is to step in and get the job done when QB1 isn't there. And that hasn't happened so far for Clifford. So very tough start for Sean. And you can just see sort of the rookie lights, and just sort of the thinking from Pratt right now. Packers have zero bargaining chips to even negotiate with Love's agent. I mean, that's not totally true. I mean, Love's on a 1-year deal right now with no guaranteed money. And, he, in all likelihood, isn't going to just sit out the entirety of the season. So if he wants to pay and he wants to hit free agency next year, because if he doesn't play, that 1-year contract just carries over. Is Green Bay going to do that? Probably not. But like, there's at least a bluff chip there, if nothing else. And as much as Green Bay wants Jordan Love out there, you have to think Jordan wants to be out there too. So, there again, it goes both ways. Green Bay can say too, like, if Jordan wants to get paid to be a Green Bay Packer, the Packers have to be willing to do that. They have to be willing to say, like, yeah, we're going to do that. If they have a limit to what they're going to pay, they have a limit to what they're going to pay. So I don't think it's completely that. I will agree with you that I think Love and his agent have more chips to negotiate with at the moment. And I think it is more on, the benefit of their side of things. But I do think it's not entirely there. Green Bay still has some leverage here as well. McDuffie, Cooper, and Quay, top 3, Hopper and Wilson off the bench, be my expectation. We'll see. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility, and think that's probably what we see. But, it's going to take some time to sort that stuff out. McDuffie's had a really nice start to camp, and Wilson's looked good in that 4-3 role. And then with rookie linebackers, sometimes you want to give them some time to develop and let things digest a little bit. And we'll see if that's what they want to do. But it looks like the 5 linebackers they have been playing pretty well so far. So I think you got to at least be somewhat excited about that. Wish we could get him a home site contract done for Love. That's the greatest contract ever written. It is also because, Mahomes is Mr. Consistency and he plays unbelievably every single year, and he's done it with longevity. But my guess is still in like a year or two, that contract's going to get torn up and Mahomes is going to get more money. So like that's usually the issue that you get into as a team that does those deals. If Love signs a 10-year deal, right? Let's say he signs a 10-year deal at, for $550 million, or like, let's say $600 million, $60 million a year for 10 years, $600 million, something like that. And let's say Green Bay like actually did a decent amount of guarantees and things like that. like for like 4 of the years. And then it sort of goes after that kind of like as a year by year sort of thing. What happens is the team is there's really no benefit for the team. If Jordan outplays it, right? If he outplays that contract and he looks incredible, he's just going to say, you guys got to pay me more. And Green Bay probably just pays him more. So they just up it anyway. They tear up the contract anyway, and they work out something new, which is probably what's going to happen with Mahomes, probably in the near future. Probably next offseason would be my guess, is that contract will get ripped up and he'll get a brand new massive deal. If it goes the other way and Love doesn't play well, all right, now you've got him signed for 10 years. And again, there's probably outs in there at some point, but it really doesn't do the team a lot of good in those situations. If he plays at the only way it works is if like it works for both sides consistently, and the odds that happens is pretty slim. So if the player outplays it, you rip it up and you pay him more. If he underperforms it, the team again has an out to get out of it at some point, but you've already probably gone 5-6 years under that 10-year deal where you've paid him a ton of money and probably didn't get your ROI on it. So with Mahomes, yeah, you just do it because it's Mahomes, but more often than not, and because Mahomes is willing to take ridiculously less than what he probably should have made. But unless you get something like that, it usually is just beneficial for the player and not the team in those situations. McDuffie and Cooper are the run stuffers. They are going to be key for this team in establishing a run D for once. That could very well be. Ridiculous Mahomes ain't getting paid $60 million. I would agree. He'll get that eventually. Training camp practice will always be special to me. I remember going as a kid and seeing Reggie White for the first time. Who was the first player that you remember being starstruck watching? I think it was probably Reggie as well. I do have a funny story though. Maybe some people will remember this. When Reggie White was a Packer, he was not the only Reggie White. There was a Reggie White who was a running back who was on the team at the same time. He's just a training camp guy. I don't think he ever made it past, final cutdowns or anything like that. But there was a Reggie White who was a running back. And everyone would see, like, the not as smart fan, I don't mean to be mean to anyone, but like the not as smart fans would see like R White on the back of the jersey and immediately rush over to get his autograph, and like not seeing the 92 or not recognizing it. And they're like, I got Reggie White's autograph. I got Reggie White's autograph. And it was the running back Reggie White and not the Reggie White. So that was always a very funny memory that I had at that time. I was obviously still very young at the time. I would have been 10 years old at the time, somewhere around there. But yeah, that was always very funny to me. So I don't know if you can even look that up somehow, but there was a running back, Reggie White, that played at the same time on the Packers. Didn't make it out of camp, I don't think, but fun story. Has Tyron Hopper surprised you the most, or any other rookie surprising you the most? Not to be a jerk. And I think somebody told me earlier of like, you can't say, we have to see how it plays out, but it's still a little bit too early to be surprised by anything. If anything, probably Evan Williams. I think Evan Williams, the level that he's played at so far, has been the most surprising. So I'll go that direction. I know people got after me on the Tyron Hopper of saying like, I never said he wasn't going to be good. In fact, I really liked him at that initial rookie minicamp. I was immediately impressed by him. It was just, if you go and watch him play on tape, there was a lot of missed tackles and a lot of missed opportunities. And that's what it was. And that was one of my negatives on him. You go back and listen, there's a lot of positives too. I've really liked Hopper since he's got to Green Bay. I think there's definitely upside there. He's made a play in run defense every single game or every single practice that has flashed. So I like Tyron Hopper. It's not the opposite. But he, a little bit surprising there, but Evan Williams, I'll go with that answer. Edge is going to be a beast. I like the rotation a lot. Gary's looked amazing. Preston's had a nice start to camp. LVN has looked solid. He's made a couple plays, and I think Enagbari's had a really great start to camp as well. Brenton Cox has been quiet after having a really good OTA mini camp. We'd love to see a little bit more from him, but either way, like the edge group as well. Tyron Hopper sounds like a good run defense guy so far. Agreed. We just talked about that. Nicholas, Andy, did you see the report that the contract holdup has to do with the contract structure? That gives me hope Green Bay is trying to give the Mahomes type contract. I would doubt it. I could be wrong. I would doubt if that goes that way. But I think, contract structure can mean a variety of different things. It can mean guarantee, like how you guarantee the money from base salary to how you give it to roster bonuses, signing bonuses, how you do the workout bonuses, incentives. If you structure it as like a 5-year deal with void years after it, or with option, like when you get to the structure of a deal, it can mean like a million different things. So Yeah, I mean the entire thing is the structure of the deal to an extent, and I think was it Rossini or forget who said that, but like yeah, if they've already agreed upon like it's going to be 55.5 million per year or something, all right, that's a great step. It's great that they have that part down, but yeah, all the rest of it is structure. But I don't think it's going to be a Mahomes type deal. Special teams in the kicking game. What are you seeing with it, Andy? There's been no like live special teams period, so that hasn't been anything of note. The only thing that we've seen has been the kicking. Anders Carlson, 11 of 12. His only miss so far in camp was today on a 50-yarder. Breeze literally picked up going left right before he kicked, and he barely missed it left, hit the upright. But he's been 11 of 12. Greg Joseph went 6 for 6 today. He is now 11 of 12 in camp. And then James Turner has been 8 of 12 so far. So he's a few makes behind the other two. But Joseph and Anders off to a great start. Anders looks much, much better this year so far. All right, Andy, is it too early to even think about signing Tannehill as a backup, or do you give the current guys more time? Yeah, I said that mostly in jest. I said at some point, and obviously it doesn't have to just be Tannehill. But if this does continue, where these backup quarterbacks can't do anything, like can't get anything going, and there is no signs of improvement, I think you have to have the conversation of a different backup quarterback at some point. And it's fine if you want to let, Clifford or Pratt, stay as like the number 3 to grow and develop. That's fine. But if they're not up to it to be the backup this year, then you at least have to have the conversation. And I'll tell the Peyton Manning, Indianapolis story for forever. They asked, why doesn't your backup quarterback get more reps? And I think it was Tom Moore said, if Peyton Manning goes down, we're effed, and we don't practice effed. I get it. If Jordan Love goes down for 14 games or something crazy, like something like that, right? In a way, you're not going to go and make a big playoff push with probably Tannehill or any of the other quarterbacks. Like your season's just done. You're not going to win a Super Bowl at that point. So would you rather just go with a Michael Pratt and win 3 games and have a super early draft pick that you can add to this team to reload for next year when Jordan comes back? Probably. Like, I think I'd probably just go in that direction. But where you get into the problems is if, Jordan's going to miss 6 games. Like, can you go 3-3 in those games and keep things afloat until he gets back? Like, that's what you really want to see. And right now, from what I've seen, I don't think they have that. So I'm willing to give them more time. They are young quarterbacks in a crappy situation with no blocking right now. Let's give them a hot second. But for me, I want to see, I think it's just at least worth a conversation if this continues to go in the direction it's been going in. Going by Ross Uglum's understanding of Green Bay, they usually just keep doing what's worked for them in the past. So they won't do anything too surprising with Love's contract. I would agree, but Aaron's last deal was totally off the wall, something they've never really done before. And they've shown the ability to go outside of the normal realm of thinking if they need to. And that probably gets into the situation with a franchise quarterback like Jordan Love. So I think everything and anything is on the table. I'm sure they would love to do it their way, but I think they also recognize that when it comes to quarterbacks, the standard isn't what their standard is. You have to sort of go outside of that. And I think they definitely understand that. Finally made a live show again. Hi, Andy. Have you seen them do any special teams kickoff returns yet? Any big changes from the new rules that we are implementing? Yes. Did it again today. Nothing noteworthy. It's just the rules as is. You got the line, you kick off. You can't take off until the ball is touched. How Green Bay has been doing it. 1 kick returner and then sort of like an up back is kind of how they've been doing it so far. So the kick returners today, I know Nixon, Jaden Reed, Samori Toure. I can just bring it up, I guess, in my notes because I just did it a second ago. Kick returners: Keyshawn Nixon, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Samori Toure, Dimitri Stanley, Emmanuel Wilson, and Jarvion Howard got reps as kick returner. And then that up back has been AJ Dillon and Grant Dubose. Those have been the sort of up back player in case it goes short. And then they are both solid blockers as well. So if you need it. And then again, I would expect Keyshawn Nixon or maybe Josh Jacobs gets in there as well as a kick returner, but we'll see what they go with, but that's how they've been doing it so far. Other than that, no major takeaways. Ryan and Morgan have a long way to go yet. Yeah, probably. But Morgan's definitely looked improved from OTAs and mini camps to now. There's been an improvement. And now with pads on, let's see how he does from there. And hopefully he continues to improve. Sean Ryan got some, you got to look last year. We'll see if he can improve. He was okay last year at times. Some good, some bad, better run blocker than pass protector. He just needs to kind of put it all together and gain some consistency. Richard, after watching all your videos this offseason, it feels like Eric Stokes was discussed on almost every video. What are your expectations for him this season? Hope he balls out. I don't know that I have expectations at this point, but I've been impressed with what he's looked like this week. And what I mean by that is he looks fast and physical. He looks in great shape, and he looks like Eric Stokes. How that equates to what he plays like on the field this season is definitely going to be a major wait and see. I don't want to put any expectations on it right now because it has been a while since we've seen rookie Eric Stokes. Sophomore year was brutal. Junior year was, all injuries basically, and then trying to work the rust off. So it has been a second since we've seen what Eric Stokes can actually do. But he's playing with confidence. He's playing fast. He's playing physical. And I like what I've seen out of Eric Stokes so far. As I talked to Perry yesterday, I feel like there is now a path to Eric Stokes being a really good corner again. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm not saying he won't be or will be. I'm just saying I can now see with the way that he looks and that his speed is still there, I can see a pathway to him becoming a really good number 2 corner again. Does he have work to do? Yes. But you can tell he's motivated. He's hungry. You can just tell there's a different flicker this year with Eric Stokes. And that makes me very excited because Green Bay could use a really good Eric Stokes opposite Jair Alexander. The secondary battle with the pads on is going to be awesome to watch. Love to hear that my guy Caleb Jones got back in. Thank you for highlights all week as well, man. My pleasure. Love doing it. You guys know that the training camp part's one of the most fun parts of the year. Totally. Always fun to kind of just tweet out everything that I'm seeing and kind of go over all the different nuances, and preseason will be here, and it's just it's a beautiful time of year. Tappy hour, beer 30. Good to see you, Kava. B Timmy 10, good for Carlson, but I think Joseph has a good chance. Valentine and Wicks are underrated. I think Joseph absolutely has a chance as well, but I would put a lot of money, maybe not a lot of, I'd put money on Anders Carlson at this point. Rashid needs to build on that strong second half of 2023 and become a third solid starter to complement Jenkins and Tom. Hopefully Morgan can be fourth solid starter. No disagreements there, Omar. Who has impressed you more so far, Bullard or Williams? I would go Williams so far. And that's not a knock on Bullard. Bullard's been fine. I haven't seen anything negative out of Bullard, but Williams has made some consistent plays and has been everywhere when he's supposed to be. It's been an impressive start for Evan Williams so far. So I'll go Evan Williams. All right. Andy, quick question. How do you come up with good questions for LaFleur and Goots to answer? I honestly think, B. Timmy, that's been one of the weaker parts of me covering the team. It's something that certainly early on, as I first became credentialed, I didn't think I did a good job with it at all. And I've been trying to be more cognizant of the questions that I ask. If I were to say that I put a bunch of time into like preparing that, I don't. So that's still not true. But I think just the structure of the questions and trying to elicit answers in a little bit of a different way is something that I've tried to work on a little bit. But there's not really any trick to it or any rhyme or reason. It's literally if there's something that I'm honestly genuinely curious about, or like today, right? Like Kadeem Telfort was sort of a story yesterday or on Wednesday because that was his first opportunity with the starters ever. So I wanted, and unfortunately this one did not elicit a response from Matt. I don't know how I could have asked it really any different, but asked him, what have they seen out of Kadeem Telfort and what did he do to earn that opportunity? And the only response I got was basically it's an open competition and they're going to continue to rotate players in there, which tells me, all right, they're not super confident in Kadeem Telfort at this point in time. But yeah, it's something that I've definitely put some thought into and trying to ask better questions that will elicit better responses. But like I said, to be honest, I think that's something that certainly at the beginning was certainly something that I struggled with more and have tried to be more cognizant of it and tried to ask better questions to, again, get hopefully good responses from coach and GM alike. With pads going on tomorrow, who are you looking forward to seeing? Just the offensive line. I want to see how this offensive line responds with the pads coming on. Do they look better? Do they anchor better? Those are the things that I want to see. It usually benefits the O-line a little bit more. How does the running game look with it? But definitely offensive line. They have to do better. Have to do better than what they've looked like so far. All right. Tua got his at about 53 per year. Curious on what Jay Love's will be. Yeah, the little whispers and rumors have been around 55. I think that's what we've kind of said all along, but I'd expect anywhere between 55 and 58 would be my educated guess. I think we need a celebratory cheers when that occurs. I agree. We've got a lot of questions. I got to get out of here probably, guys, in about 5 minutes, but I'll try to get to as many quick here lightning round at the end. For God's sakes, hit like, people. Love that. I ask terrible questions in members Q&As. No, you don't, Kevin. Andy, what do you do for pregame, postgame stuff during the regular season? If it's a home game, usually not much. Usually home game, I will go to the game and then come back home after the press conferences and everything. If it's a noon or a 3 o'clock game, especially if it's a noon game, I will usually come home and do a post-game show at some point. Usually it's just a little bit delayed. But if it's a 3:15 or especially if it's a night game, I won't come home and do a live hit. Then I just record the video and upload it pretty much right away. So yeah, if it's an away game, then for, right after the game is done, I'll do a live post-game show immediately following the game. So differs a little bit. Usually don't do too much from a pre-game standpoint. Maybe I'll change that this year, at least think about it. But for home games, certainly not. Away games, I'll think about it a little bit. Anxious for the deal. I want him in pads tomorrow. I think we all do, Devin. If they cut Dillard soon, who would you like to see brought into camp? I don't know. I guess probably just another offensive lineman. Maybe there's another vet out there that they could pick up and have him replaced. But my guess is they'll give him a little bit more time. She said, Joey, thanks for being a member for 2 months. Thoughts on Hopper? We talked about him a little bit already. Liked what I've seen. Certainly some flashes. Probably needs a little bit more consistency, but I haven't had enough time to watch specifically Tyron Hopper to speak to that better. But the fact that he's making a flash play in every single practice is certainly a good sign. Do you think we are at a point in camp where we should start Michael Pratt? No, but I think we're at a point in time where Michael Pratt should get some reps with the ones, because it's basically been Clifford getting all of them. I think Pratt should at least get some looks because Clifford's been pretty abysmal so far. Domination by the D all 4 days. Correct. You are, Omer. With Tom on the sideline, do you think they should be giving Morgan reps there, or do you think they like keeping him at guard? I would keep him at guard so far. I like what they're doing there. Tom's going to come back and be the right tackle, so why give Jordan Morgan a bunch of snaps at right tackle when he's probably not going to get there anyway? Let him solidify into one spot. And even when Sean Ryan, they're making Sean Ryan move, not Jordan Morgan. So I think we talked about it in OTA and minicamp. I thought they gave him too much, too fast. And I love the fact that they're scaling it back now and just giving him that one spot. Ryan and Morgan on the line, certainly not helping. I don't know that anything's helping at this point. You just need Zach Tom back out there and some of these guys to play a little bit better. Coming in for training camp Wednesday and Thursday, and also family night, what would be my best chance of getting some shirts signed? I'm assuming you mean by players. Just line up against the fence is probably what you're looking for. But that's probably your best bet. But honestly, I'm kind of the worst guy to ask for that. People always ask me about the bikes and about autographs. And those are two things I don't get to do because I'm doing the press conference and then I'm going right to practice. So those are two things I really don't know anything about, to be honest. Most State of Minnesota, and thank you so much for gifting 5-pack-a-day podcast memberships. That's awesome of you. And if I see you, I'm definitely going to be saying hi. You definitely do so, Dan. Thank you very much once again, Most State of Minnesota, for the membership. Woohoo! Get Andy bonus stuff again. There you go. Love it. Thank you for doing that again, Most State of Minnesota. And Goody should have just taken Love's option and extended him last season after he turned the corner. We would have been in the exact same spot, Mike McGee. His option would have been for this year. And he still has a 1-year contract this year, or 1 year left. So we'd be in the exact same situation no matter what. The option was basically picked up for all intents. They just sort of met in the middle. They just would have actually paid him more so far if they did the option. So what they did instead of picking up the option was actually super beneficial for the Packers. They actually paid more Love less money than they would have. So we would have been in the exact same situation. As I mentioned the other day, Joe, about the running backs, you can't glean anything about the running game at this point. There's nothing to take away. There's no pads. There's no tackling. And they're not even running certain run plays with no pads on. So you can't really gain anything from the running game at this point in time. All right. We're probably going to have to go to do super lightning round. Are you worried about the O-line, about the O-line depth? Yes, I am. Special teams and kicking. What do you think, Andy? Kicking, we talked about. Back to Mahomes' rookie year, he wasn't throwing to rookies. That is true. Who is our weakest starter on offense and on defense? Right now, Sean Clifford on offense. Defense, I don't know. There hasn't really been one that's stood out so far, which is a great thing to say. How do you see the Eagles trying to attack us week one? How would you attack their defense? That's probably a better question as we get closer to that week one matchup, Jesse. Thank you very much. I've not heard much about the new kicking. Appreciate the reply. Much appreciated. I met Favre, White, and Brooks at the end of summer 96. I'm going to go to members chats. I agree. Stick with the kids as backups. Tannehill costs too much and probably not good anyhow. Love goes down. It's New Year. That's it. Pretty much. Sorry if this has been addressed, but is Lloyd back practicing from the hip injury? Not yet. Valentine playing just as good or is better so far? Yeah, he's had a really nice start to camp. Wick's been the best wide receiver. There hasn't been a best wide receiver so far because the quarterbacks have not thrown accurate passes or have been able to get the ball off. Bullard, Williams, and Johnson Jr. all good start to camp. I would agree. E1 on D, been balling so far, nothing from offense from many of them at all. Say, I agree, Omar. Wicks made some plays. Emmanuel Wilson, nice run today. Run D and O-line, biggest concerns for this team. Another awesome show. Amazing how you answer so much quickly. You're a master multitasker. Appreciate that. Andy, my man, happy hour. Can you see Evan Williams winning the starting safety job? If so, can you remain so, or do you see them maybe alternating starts? I absolutely think he can win it. And I think he can stay in that spot. Derek, thank you for becoming a new member. Pads on soon. I was born this way. There we go. All right. That's what we got. Thank you guys so much for attending. I will actually be late to practice tomorrow. I have another event that I have to attend in the morning that gets done at 11. Practice starts at actually like 10:50 once they get done with like warm-ups and stuff. I should make it there about 11:15, but I will miss a little of the early portion of practice tomorrow, but should be there to cover the rest of it. With pads coming on, it should be a longer practice and I should get to see the vast majority of it. Of course, I'll be doing the quick hits right after and then a full video for the following day as well. That's going to do it for me. Other videos should hopefully be up shortly. I will see you all soon. You're the absolute best. I love you all. Until next time. And as always, happy hour and go Pack Go.